I wanted to make 4 new looks for my trip to Mexico. First, I'm going to go into my stash. Second, I found this beautiful dress online that was very expensive. Third, I found another dress online that was very inexpensive, so I wanted to improve the quality of it. And fourth, while I was doing all the shopping, I found some fabric that I loved, and I'm going to make a design based on that. When I went into my stash, I had this very beautiful double brushed DTY fabric. I have it in a blue and a beige. And when I looked at it, it reminds me of the beach. And I was heading to the beach, so I thought it would make a really beautiful dress. One of my favorite shops in the New York City garment district is this little small shop on the 9th floor. You have to go back around the corner. And the owner always tells me when I go there, buy what speaks to you. So I do the same thing when I find fabric. I let the fabric speak to me in terms of what I should make with it. So when I felt this fabric and have that beachy look, I decided to use the beige in the top with a sheath style dress. I started with my knit sloper, and I decided to do a V-neck with it, and it will end right at the hips. And then I'm going to use this beautiful blue to be a flounce on the bottom, and it'll be a full circle flounce that will give movement as I walk. So I always start with creating a sketch. So you can see here, I created this sketch. On it, I put the number of the pattern, which I just add a number with each new pattern I create. And at the bottom, I also add the type of fabric and where I purchased the fabric, fiber content, that kind of thing. So in the future, if I want to make it again, I'll have all that information. I used my knit block or sloper to create the pattern. And you can go to the link that I have in above here and also in the description that you can see how I patterned this dress. I also have a link above as well that will show you how I converted my woven sloper into the knit sloper. So for this one, I had created the pattern. I took my knit sloper, I lowered the neck a bit, turned it into a V, went down 4 inches to the point of the V. I brought the arm over about an inch to make a little bit wider neckline. And then you can see I made a full circle flounce, and I'll also have a tutorial on how to make perfect circles. So not too many modifications. The more difficult part of this is just doing the calculations for the flounce, but I didn't make too many changes to my basic knit sloper for this dress. And you can see here the final look, and I think it's quite beautiful, and it's very comfortable, and I love it. The second dress that I planned was something I saw while I was watching Shark Tank. The entrepreneur was wearing this beautiful long tiered maxi dress. So I searched online to find out where she got it. I did find it. It was an Oscar de la Renta dress, cost $3,300. Ouch. So I would never spend that much on a dress. So I decided to make one on my own. So it was a cotton poplin. And I'll show you here how I patterned the dress. I don't have a video on it, but you can see that I used my woven sloper for this one, and I just raised the waistline up about 3 inches because I wanted to sort of have a raised waist on it. That's how it looked in the picture as well. I did lower the neck a bit because I try to avoid using buttons or zippers. It's just easier, just throw the dress on. So I typically try to get the neckline sufficient so I can just throw it on. And then you can see there's 3 tiers, and I take the waist or the raised waist measurement and I multiply that times 1.5 to get the top tier width. Then I take whatever that comes out to be, you multiply that times 1.5 again to get the middle tier width. And then finally, you do the same for the 3rd tier. So if you want to see how I patterned this dress, let me know in the comments and I can create a video on that. And I came up with this sketch as well because I am making some modifications to from the original design. As I said, I lowered the neck, I got rid of the front placket. I decided to just make it sleeveless instead of the ruffle sleeve. So I did make some modifications, and then you can see on here, so I'll remember what modifications I made. To find the fabric, I love Spoonflower. So they're a little expensive, but there's things that you just can't find anywhere else. I could even go into all the fabric stores in the garment district, and trying to find a very specific fabric like this would be very, very difficult. So with Spoonflower, the artisans post all these beautiful designs, and then you match it up with a wide variety of fabrics that they have to offer. So I found, you can see here, this fabric that was very close. It was a botanical print. Absolutely loved it. Decided to continue to go with the cotton poplin. That was the original design. I had to buy 5 yards because it was only 42 inches wide. So please pay attention to the width of fabric. Some fabric is much wider than other fabric. And it was $22 a yard, but I typically wait for sales with Spoonflower. They have a lot. So I only ends up paying $88 for this dress, where the original one was $3,200. So I think it's a great savings. And I love how it came out. You can see the final look here. Then the third design that I wanted to come up with, I found a very inexpensive design on Amazon actually. But I typically don't like to buy dresses, in $20, $25 range, because the fabric quality is often not very good. So I definitely wanted to make my own. Again, as I was on Spoonflower, I decided that I'm going to look for this mosaic design. You can see here from my sketch, I changed the pattern a little bit. I went with a V-neck instead, but still continue to go with a little bit of the flare and swing. So the mosaic pattern that I found on Spoonflower, I ended up getting a cotton jersey. I only needed 3 yards of this because this fabric was 60 inches wide. So it only came out to $78 and more expensive than the original, but you can see here that I love the final outcome and it's so comfortable to wear. And lastly, when I was on Spoonflower, I found this fabric that I absolutely love. So I bought it. I bought 3 yards, and I also got it in the cotton jersey. And I was thinking, okay, so what speaks to me? How does this fabric speak to me? And I decided that I'm going to go with the flounce dress from the beachy beige and blue, the first one that we just discussed, because you don't always have to create a new design. And I figured that this fabric is so different than the solid one that I made that dress out of, that it's going to have a completely different look. So I did change it, just made a minor modification. Instead of a V-neck, I created a scoop neck. So that was a very easy change, but it makes a world of difference when you have this bold, bright fabric. And you can see the final sketch that I created here. I'll put up showing making the whole sketch from start to finish. I start with a croquis underneath and then sketch and put the design in so I can remember. See the final look, me wearing the dress, and I just absolutely love it. If you want to see how I drafted and sewed this flounce dress, check out these videos here.